Welcome everyone to this video on Introduction to Python. So this particular video is basically created for the students who are new to the Python programming language. Since we have already started the machine learning course and all the programming exercises that we will be doing to understand the various concepts associated with this course will be done using Python programming language. So it is necessary that we should know the basic syntax of the Python and the necessary libraries that are required to implement various algorithms using Python programming language. So this particular video and some couple of subsequent videos will be try in these videos we will be trying to cover all the important libraries, all the important functions to understand the Python, and that will help you to do various programming exercises associated with this particular course.
What we are going to do is that we are going to use a Python notebook to write our Python code and execute it on the browser itself. But the students can also use some other platforms. For example, they can install Python on their own system, and they can use any text editor to write their Python code and then execute it. But for simplicity and for easiness, we will be using the Python notebooks. And you can easily create Python notebooks in your Google Drive. For example, if you have a Google Drive, here you can go on into a new section, and then you can go into this more tab. There is Google Collaboratory. You can open it here, and a Python notebook is created. Okay, so let me show it here. So it is taking some time to get load. So this is the Python notebook that anyone on his Google Drive can create a Python notebook and write the Python code. So we don't have to install anything. We can use this particular thing, and the entire code is also saved in our drive. So in this particular we can say in this particular Python notebook, you can embed both the text as well as code. So for example, here in this Python notebook, I have a text section. So here there are two sections. You can create a code section, you can create a text section. So text section, you cannot execute the text section. You can only write some text, or we can say some description about your Python code into that text section. But if you are adding a code section, in that code section you can write your Python code and then you can execute it. So I will show you both the text section and the code section. For example, in this Python notebook, let's suppose you want to write some text section. You can go into the text. So here we have the text, we can write it. So I can write, this is a course, this is a video related to Python basics. Okay, so this is a simple, I can say, text section that I have created here. So now let's suppose somebody wants to write a Python code. He will go into this code section, he will write a Python statement. So I am writing a simple Python statement here, hello world, and then they have to press this particular button to execute this code. So it will take some time before connecting to the server to get your code running. So it is initializing some environment variables. So yes, so it has printed hello world. So for all our exercises, for all our assignments, or we can say for all the tutorials that we will be providing to the students in this particular course, we will be using Python notebook. But yes, you are not restricted to use only Python notebook. You can use any other Python installation on your own system. Okay, so as I said, this particular video is only related to the basics of Python that is required for understanding this machine learning course. So here I have outlined some of the basic things that we are going to discuss in this particular video and in the other video. So we will we will have an intro related to the Python, and we will see what is the syntax of the Python, how we can use different conditions, loops, We will also discuss different types of data structures. For example, we will use lists. We will discuss about the lists, tuple, dictionaries, and functions that we are going to use in the machine learning exercises. We will also discuss three important libraries that we are going to use in this particular course. One is the Numpy library. So this particular library is mostly used for creating, we can say, the arrays, matrices, performing matrix operations. Okay, so this particular library is used for those things. Then another library is the Pandas library. So that particular library includes the functions for working with data sets. You know that in machine learning you have the data sets and you have to process those data sets. So Python Pandas library will be used, so it will provide the functions that are helpful in processing a large amount of data. Then another library that we are going to discuss is the Matplotlib. So this particular Python library is mainly used for plotting the different types of data. So we can say this particular library will be used for data visualization. Okay, so what we are going to do first, we will discuss the basics of Python, some Python syntax and other important stuff that is related, and then we will briefly discuss three important libraries. One is the Numpy library, the second is the Pandas library, and the third is the Matplotlib library. But you have to keep in mind that this particular video only gives the basic introduction about these libraries and about the Python. For in-depth detail, you can take any textbook related to the Python and you can have hands-on practice from different websites as well. Okay, so let's start with the Python introduction. So what I am going to do, I am going to create a code section here. So here I have created a code section. So the basic statement that we are going to use in Python is that the print statement. When you want to print anything, for example, you want to print hello world, so you will simply write hello world. Okay, and then you will execute it, so it will print hello world. Okay, so this is a statement in Python that is used to print something. Okay, but you have to understand that in Python, like in other programming languages, let's suppose C or Java or C++, so every, you can see that every program starts with the main function, but in Python it starts from the first line. So whatever is the first instruction, it will execute that. Okay, so here the first instruction was print, so it has executed this particular instruction. So there is no main function or like that in the Python. Okay, for example, I can create variables in the Python. In other programming languages, you have to declare the data type for the variable as well, but in Python you can simply create a variable. For example, x is equal to 6, so x contains a variable called 6. You can also print this particular variable x. So let's execute this again. So it is going to first execute this print hello world, so it is printing hello world. Then it creates a variable x which is given a value 6. Then it prints this particular variable and the value is 6. Okay, now let's suppose you are creating another variable y is equal to 10 and you want to print these two. So you can simply separate these two by comma and write print x comma y. Then you can execute it again. So let's see what is printing. So hello, and then it is printing 6 and 10. Okay, so so this is for printing. So you have to remember that in Python, to write comments, single line comments, you can use hash and then write your comment. Okay, for example, the comment for this particular line is print statements. So here we are declaring a variable. Okay, you can also create string variables. For example, s is equal to hello. So strings are enclosed in these double quotes, and you can print this has s as well, print s. So then we will execute it. So let's see what is going to print. Hello, it is printing this 6. Basically it is coming dot here. So let's remove it. Let's run it again. So hello world, then 6, then hello. So it is printing this s. S is basically a string hello. Fine. So this is a string variable. Fine. And you also have to remember that in Python, the variables, or we can say the functions, these are case sensitive. For example, if it is capital S and here you are writing a small s, so these are two different variables. So s is different, this is a capital S, this is a small s. If you run it, it will give an array because this s is not okay. So just a second, I will load it again. So it is giving some arrays, or let's check it here whether it is case sensitive or not. So let me write var 1, another is var 2. So let's print var comma var. So you can execute it here. So you can see here that this var is taking value as 1 and this var is taking value 2. Both are same, but there is only one difference. The first v here is capital and here is small. So the Python is a case sensitive. That means if you are using a small case or capital case, they will be treated as different, not as same. Okay, so this is for case sensitive. So I'm writing comments here. I will also be sharing this particular notebook with all the students. Okay. So up till now we have discussed how we can print the statements, or how we can write comments, how we can initialize variables, or we can say how we can create variables. Now, for example, if you want to create a random variable, okay, you want to generate a random variable. Let's say you want to generate any random variable from 1 to 10, then for that particular thing you have to import one library there. So for importing libraries in Python, we can use import, then the name of the library. So one of the library is random, then you can, let's say, create a random, so it will be like random dot rand range. Okay, so if you write like this, so it will create a random variable from 1 to 9. So it will exclude this last one, 10, and it will give that random variable into ran. So if you print this ran, so you will see it will be some number. So yes, 9. Let's suppose again run it, so it should be a different number now. So it is giving 7, you can see here. So again if we run it, 1. Again if we run it, 3. So you can see that the number getting generated is a random number, but each time it is generating a different number from 1 to 9. So this is for generating a random number. Okay, so after this what we are going to do is let me create a new code section. Okay, so here I'm creating a new code section. So let's check how we can use conditions. For example, if else you have already discussed about the condition statements. Let's see how we can do it in Python. So let me create some variables. X is equal to 10. Let's say y is equal to 2. Okay, so let's suppose I have to print a statement that y, whether x is greater than y or y is greater than x. So we can use statements if. Okay, if x is greater than y. So this is how we use if conditions in Python. So if, then we use a condition, then after a condition there is a colon. Okay, and then we go to the next line. you have to remember that Python uses indentation. Indentation means that, let's suppose if I write from this particular position, the first position, if I write print x is greater than y. Okay, so if I am not providing indentation at the beginning, that means this particular line is not included in this particular if you want to include one or more than one statements into some condition, you have to use indentation. So here I am using one indentation. Let's suppose I have to use 2 or 3 statements in this particular print. We are understanding the use of indentation. So here you can see that these two statements come under this particular if. Okay, so that means if this condition is true, these two statements will be run. And how our Python interpreter knows that these two statements are under this particular if it checks it by this indentation. Let's suppose if I remove indentation to this one, to the second statement. So if I remove this, the Python will understand that only this particular statement comes under this if. So let's check whether it is working like this or not. So let's first use 2 indentations. Let's run it. So you can see that, see, x was 10, so 10 is greater than 2, so the condition is true. It will go and it will run the statements under this if. So what are the statements under this if? Printf x is greater than y, so it will print x is greater than y, and it will also print we are understanding the use of indentation. Now let's suppose if I remove this indentation with the second statement, so it will assume or it will treat that this particular printf is not under this if. Okay, so if I run it, so let's see what it is going to print. So again it is printing both the statements, but since it is printing, why it is printing so let's change it a little bit. Let's do it like this: if y is greater than x, so it will print y is greater than x. So now let's put an indentation first. Let's see, if x is greater than y, then only these two statements should be executed. But since y is not greater than x, so no statement will be executed. Okay, because this condition is false. Now if I remove an indentation here, you can see if I run it, it will print this one: we are understanding the use of indentation. So that means it is treating only this statement under this if, and the statement that is not using indentation, that comes outside this particular if. So you have to understand one thing here, what I want to make it clear, that whenever you have to place a block of statements under some condition, or we can say under some loop or under some function, then you have to give an indentation to those statements. Okay, so this was all about indentation. So see, so this was an if. Let's suppose if I have to use the else condition also, I will do else, then colon, or print x is greater than y. So let's run it. So it is printing x is greater than y. So let's suppose you want to use nested if else. So for nested if else, you have to do like this. For example, if y is greater than x, then the statements, so the statements will come here. Then let's suppose else if you have to check another condition. So it is elif, if x equal to y, then the other statements, then the last is else. Okay, sorry, colon is missing, and the last statements. So this is how we are going to use and if, sorry, else if. in the or we can say the nested if else. So let me write the statements also here. So, or we can use different variables here now. X is equal to, let's say, is 10 and y is also 10. So then we do print y is greater than x, and here we will print x and y are equal, and in the else last statement we will print x is greater than y. So let me do one thing. Let me write this particular code. Let me cut it, or sorry, let me do code section here. Let me add another code section here. Let me paste this particular cell, or oh, sorry. So let's copy this particular portion. Okay, and let me remove this particular portion and create a new code cell. Okay, so here in this cell we are using if else. Okay, so let me run this particular cell. So it should print x and y are equal to each other. So this was about if else, and this is if else. Okay. Now if you want to have a nested in this particular format, let's suppose you have to compare three variables. A is equal to 10 and b is equal to 20 and c is equal to 30. Let's suppose you have to find the largest of these three using the nested. You can do the nesting like this. If a is greater than b, then inside this if we will now check if a is greater than c as well. If it is so, then we will do print. So you have to understand here. So this print, so see, this if there was one indentation, and for this print there should be two indentation because it comes under the second if. Okay, print a is the largest, else we have to print c is the largest. Then this was about if, then so this else was related to this particular if, then another else will be related to this, the first if. Okay, so let me write that else here, else. So under this else comes again the if b is greater than c, sorry, indentation should be there, print b is the largest. And now comes the else of this particular print, of this particular if, else print c is the largest. Okay, so now let me execute this particular code. So what it is printing, c is the largest. You can see that c is the largest. So this is how you can use nested if else. This was the nested if else. Okay, so now let's come to the loops, how we can use loops. So there are two kinds of loops that we will be using. One is the while loop and another is the for loop. So let me add another code section here. So the syntax of while is while, then we have to write the condition here. So condition, then colon, Then we will write the statements which are under this while. So this while checks this condition. If this condition is true, it will go and execute the statements in this particular while loop. However, if the condition is false, it will go outside this while loop. So let's write a program. So for example, let me write a is equal to 10 and I is equal to 1. Then let's write while I is less than a, print, we are going to print the value of I. Value of I is, and then we have to print this I, and also we are going to increment this I is equal to I plus 1. So what it should print, it should print value of I from 1 to up to 9. Okay, so let's see if it is printing. Oh sorry, there is some, okay, sorry, instead of this plus you can simply write comma. Okay, so I will make you understand why there was this error. For example, so let me make you understand first that particular thing. So here I am opening a new code section. So for example, if I am doing print hello then plus world, so what this plus is going to do, it will concatenate these two strings into one. So for example, if I run it, it will print hello world. So it is concatenating these two. So both are strings, so it will concatenate. However, if one is string and another is an integer, then it will give an array, because it won't understand whether this plus is a concatenation operation or it is an arithmetic addition operation. For example, if I am writing 5 plus 6, basically here, if both these arguments were strings, then it was acting as a concatenation operation. But here both these we can say both these operands are integers, so it will treat this as an arithmetic addition. So it will add these two and then it will print the result. So it will print 11. So let's run it. So it is printing 11. So that is why this error was coming here. So let me delete this particular cell here. So here is an option for delete. Okay, so you can see the while loop is running. Value of I is 1, value of I is 2, value of I is 3, value of I is 4, value of I is 5, value of I is 6, up to 9. When this condition becomes false, it comes out of this loop. Okay, so likewise, let's understand the use of for as well. So for is again it is kind of, so in while we were checking a condition, but for you already know, maybe you may be knowing that in C programming language or in C++ or Java, for loop takes an iterator. So that means there is some iterator which is changing periodically and it is also checking a condition. Okay, so how I am going to make you understand this for example, let me write for I in range 1 to 6. So basically what this range function does, it creates a list of 5 elements. So the first element will be 1, the second element will be 2, third element will be 3, fourth element will be 4, and fifth element will be 5. Okay, so and it will give that element wise 1 by 1 to I. The first value to I will be 1, the second value will be 2, the third value will be 3. So up to 5 it is going to run. Then after that it will exit. So let's print this I, print value is so plus I. So let me print it. Oh sorry, so not plus I, it is comma I. Okay, so here it is printing value is 1 2 3 4 5. So basically it was, so this was a kind of you may know it was a kind of array. So I am going to discuss this array as well, but you should understand that it is kind of, this range function is generating an array. or we can say a list, and that list contains how many elements? 5 elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. At the first time it is giving the first element to this I, then the second element, then the third element, then fourth element, then fifth element, and it is printing those elements here. So we are going to discuss this in detail in the arrays section, or we can say in the list section, but you should understand how for loop is going to work here. So this was about the loops. Okay, so we completed the Python intro, condition, and loops. Now let's see what is a list. So let me create a new code here. Okay, so basically list is a collection of elements. Okay, and the elements, they may be of same data type or different data type. Okay, and also we can update, or we can say we can change the list as well, or we can say we can update the elements of a list. Okay, and how we create a list? First we will write some name, any name of your choice. Let's suppose list1. Let's suppose it contains elements, so the elements in a list are written in square brackets. So let's suppose the first element is 1, 2. We can have another element as hello, we can have another element as like this. Okay, so list1, it is a list which contains how many elements? 4 elements. The first element is 1, the second element is 2, third element is hello, fourth element is 6. Okay, now you can print any element of a list, or you can print the entire list as well. So you can do print list1. If you run it, it will print this entire list. 1, 2, hello, 6. Or let's suppose you want to print the element at index 1. So you have to understand and you have to remember that index always starts from 0. So the index of 1 will be 0, 2 will be 1, hello will be 2, and 6 will be 3. Okay, now let's suppose you have to print hello. You will do list 1. So what is the index? Index is 2, so it will print hello. So it is printing hello. Or we can say if you want to access the third element, so what is the third element? It is 6. You can do it here, 6. Okay, so likewise you can print all elements of a list in another fashion using a for loop. For I in list1. So I already said that when we are using for I is an iterator. Iterator means that it will take the value of elements in this particular list. First, its value will be 1. The second value will be 2. Third time its value will be hello. Fourth time its value will be 6. Okay, and we can print it like this, print I. So you can see that it will print these elements one by one. So first it is printing 1, then 2, then hello, then 6. So that is how we are using for loops. For loops for iteration through a list. And you should also keep this in mind that if you are using a string, let's suppose S is a string, let's say hello. Okay, internally Python treats this hello as a list. So it will treat it like this. So I will write in comments, it will treat it like this one. H E sorry E small L L O. Okay, so how we can verify it? We can verify it like this. We will do for C in S print C. So let's see whether it is doing like so. So you can see it is printing C in S. So the first value in C will be H, then E, then L, then L, and then O. So it is printing H, E, L, L, O. So you have to remember that our Python is treating the string as a list as well. Okay, so this is about the list. Now let's discuss another thing. Let's create a next code section. Let's discuss about a tuple. So this is another data structure that is used, tuple. So tuple stores multiple items. So like list, it is also a collection of items, but the difference is that the items of a tuple, items cannot be changed. What I mean to say, for example, let's first check about the list itself. So in the list, let's see, let's say you want to update the second element, this 2. Instead of 2, you want to put there, let's say you want to put there anything, hello world. Let's say you want to, at this place you want to place world, so you can do list 1 at location at index 1. You want to replace this 2 by some other statement, let's suppose world. Now if you check this list, print list 1. So let's check it. So you can check here. So the basically original list was like this: 1 2 hello 6. Now the list has been updated: 1 world hello 6. Okay, the difference with the tuple and list is that the items of a tuple cannot be changed. Okay, so let's create a tuple. So how is tuple created? Tuple 1. So for list, we are creating a list using square brackets, but for tuple we are using these curly brackets. So let's see, the first item is apple, the second item is 2, the third item is mango, let's suppose, and you can access it the same like the index. Print, let's suppose you want to print the third element, tuple 1's element at index 2, so it should print mango. Yes, it is printing mango. So let's say you want to update, if you are trying to update the second element, let's say tuple 1 at index 2, you want to, instead of mango you want to put banana. As I said that it should give an error because we cannot change the elements of a tuple. Let's see whether it is giving an error. Yes, it is giving an error, and it is showing that tuple object does not support item assignment. That item assignment means that we cannot update the elements of a tuple. Okay, so this was about the tuple. So let me remove it here. Now let's discuss about another concept, that is the dictionaries. Okay, so what is a dictionary and how we are going to use dictionaries? So let me write here. Dictionary is another data structure that is used in the Python, and we will be using dictionaries a lot in the assignments and exercises. So basically it is a collection. Dictionary is a collection of items in pairs, and each pair contains a key and value. Okay, so what I mean to say, for example, previously in lists and tuples we were having a collection of items. Okay, in dictionary also we have a collection of items, but every item will have a key. So there are two things: there will be a key and there will be a value. Okay, key and value. So let me show you how we create a dictionary. Let's suppose I am creating a dictionary variable. So we are creating dictionary using curly brackets. So the first element, so here the elements were values, simply values. Okay, but here every element will have a key and a value. So let's suppose I am creating, let's say, Monday. So it is one key, Monday. Let's suppose say its value is 1. So this is how we create one element of a dictionary: its key and its value, comma. Let's suppose I want to create another element, another element, let's suppose Tuesday. Tuesday, the value will be 2. Let's say I am creating another element Tuesday. Let's say I am creating another element, that is Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the value of this particular key will be 3. Now I am creating another, that is Thursday. The value of this will be 3, 4. Now Friday, sorry, Friday, and the value will be 5. Then Saturday, 5, 6. Then Saturday, Sunday, and the value is 7. Okay. So here I have created a dictionary, and this dictionary has 7 elements. So each element, this is the key Monday, and its value is 1. Tuesday, its value is 2. Wednesday, its value is 3. Okay. So in a dictionary, there are two things. One is the key, and another part is the value. Okay. And of a dictionary, you can print all the keys, or you can get all the keys. For example, if you want to print all the keys of a dictionary, there is a function dictionary dot keys. So it is going to get all the keys in the dictionary. So it will print all the dictionary keys: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So basically it is getting the keys, or you can do another thing here. Let me create keys is equal to dictionary1 dot keys. Okay, so it will take all the keys from this dictionary and it will place in the keys. So this key will be a list, and this list will contain keys. So what are the keys? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now let's suppose you want the values only. You can do dictionary1 dot values. So it will get all the values and it will place in this particular variable, in this particular list. You can also print this. Let's first print keys, then we will print the values. Okay, so let's run it here. So the keys are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, also you can access the what I'm saying, these elements using the key itself. For example, you want to print the value of, or you want to get the value of some key. Okay, print, you write dictionary1, so and then you write the key name. So let's suppose Wednesday. Okay, so Wednesday, basically we are using this key as an index. For example, in tuple or in list, whenever you want to access some element in a list, you should know the index of that element. Likewise, in a dictionary, if you want to print some value, you have to write the key of that particular value. Okay, so let's check it here. It should print 3. So let's see if it is printing 3. Yes, it is printing 3. Okay, so you have to remember here, let me write in the comments, we can access the values in a dictionary using their keys. Okay, and there is another thing, we can also print dictionary. Let me print a dictionary in total. If I will print this dictionary, so it will print the keys on the top: Monday 1, Tuesday 2, Wednesday 3, Thursday 4, Friday 5, Saturday. Let's suppose I will create another dictionary, dictionary 2. Let's say the first is let's say I want to create a table. Okay, or we can say let me make you understand like this. Let's say this is calories eaten. Okay, calories eaten, and the value of this, we can use the value as a complete list as well. So here the value was a simple item, but you can create a list as a value. So let's see, 1 2 3. Okay, this is element 1. Another element, let's see, I am creating weight gained. So weight gained, so let me create another 2 comma 5 comma 6. Okay, if I print this particular dictionary, print dictionary 2, so let's print it. Let's check how it is going. So calories eaten is 1 2 3, weight gains is 2 5 6. Or you can print it like this also. Let's do one thing, print you can print the values only like this, if you have to print values only. So it is printing the values. So the values is 1 2 3 and 2 5 6. What is these curly braces? I will make you understand, but you should know how the dictionaries are used. Okay, so this is about the dictionaries, and we are going to use the dictionaries in our further discussion, but up till now you should know what is the dictionary and how it is getting used. Okay, now another thing that we have to understand is the functions. Okay, so let's say I want to create a function that adds two numbers. So print hello world. So let's say, so it is a general statement, I want to create a function. So this is how function is created. So we have to write def, it is a keyword, then function name. So let's suppose I am writing its name as sum two numbers. Okay, and then it will take arguments. Let's suppose it is taking these two arguments, and this function should do the sum of these two numbers, and it should return this c. Okay, so this is a function that sums two numbers. Okay, now let's suppose I want to use this function. So I am creating two numbers, x is equal to 4 and y is equal to 8, and now I want to result sum two numbers, and the arguments will be x and y, and then after that I will print this result. Okay, so let me run it. So see what it is going to do. It will first run this statement. Okay, then after this the function is only executed when it is called. So here it is defined only, so I am not calling it. Okay, so this particular thing won't be executed. It will only be executed when we are calling it here. Okay, so it is giving some error here. Have I written? Yes, I have misspelled it. Sum two numbers. So this, what I'm saying, that this particular function will not be executed until it is called. So it is called here only it is executed. So, and you already know that Python is using indentation, so it understands that these two statements are belonging to this particular function. So let me run it. So it is first printing hello world, then it is printing 12. So the 12 is the sum of 8 and 4. Okay, so this is how we are using functions in what I'm going to say, we are using functions in Python. Okay, now we are going to understand one important function that we will be using most frequently in understanding the Python. So that is the range function. Okay, so what this range function is going to do, so this range function, it is a system defined function. This particular function outputs a list. Okay, and it always by default starting from 0. Okay, so let's suppose I am doing c is equal to range, and you also, let me first write it here. So this particular function, it takes 3 arguments. What are the 3 arguments? Start, where from it should start generating the elements, end, and the step. So I will make you understand all these things, and start, end, and step. And by default, step is 1. So if step is not given, then it will treat this step as 1. So what I'm going to say here, range, let's suppose I am writing range 1 to 10. So here I am only giving 2 arguments, start and end. So that means it will generate a list. So that particular list will start from 1. So it will go from 1 and it will end to 10. So 10 is not included. Last one is not included. Okay. So it will be 1 to 9. And as I said, by default step is 1. So the first element will be 1, the second element will be 2, third element will be 3, fourth element will be 4. Okay, like that. Let me print it here. Let's check whether it is printing the same way. Okay, so it is range 1 to 10. Or so it is not printing. Why it is printing simply range? So let me check it here. I don't know why it is printing is simply a function. Oh, sorry. We have to understand it, but let's leave it for some time, because range function we will be using in the numpy. So there I will make you understand this range, because see, it will print if we import numpy and then we use numpy dot range. Now if I do it, it is arrange. So it is printing 1 3 5 7 9. So here I have included step as well. So when I am using 2 as a step, it will increment by 2. So if I don't include a step, so it will go on 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, so we are going to discuss it in detail. You can leave it for some time. So let's leave it. Numpy. But you can do one thing. You can use the range function in usually we use in for loop range 1 to 10, and if I include step also, let's suppose I am using a step of 2, it will do print I. So let's check what it is printing. It will print 1 3 5 1 3 5 7 9. So if you are using a step of 3, it should be 1 4 7, like that, 1 4 7. Okay, this is why this range is used.
So with this, we have completed the basic syntax of the Python and the basic components that are there in the Python programming language. In the subsequent videos, we will understand some of the libraries which are very important for doing the machine learning exercises, or we can say for implementing machine learning algorithms. So let me stop this particular video here. We will meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye.